we have the first whiskey made in Texas that was released on the market. That's not what is really most important to us. The first Texas whiskey, what we really mean is that we're not just making whiskey in Texas. We're trying to make Texas styles of whiskey. There's a long history of distilleries having not just geographical, but particularly geological names. So, as you may or may not know, we're on the Balcones fault line. The water that we use is trickled up through, so in many ways the spring water that we're talking about is even more pure, and we wanted something that was really Texas and geological.
I knew Chip through my brother-in-law, who was a professor at Baylor, is a professor at Baylor. I was a student there back in the early 90s, and that's how the introductions were made. And I heard back in 2008 that Chip wanted to do Texas's first whiskey since Prohibition.
He's like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm starting a distillery. He's kind of like, how are you doing? I'm like, I don't know.
So we sat down on his front porch one evening. It was about 100 degrees in Waco, and got out a scratch pad and figured out how much money we needed to have to get it going. And
rather than doing what some other businesses have done, and even I've done another business, say, hey, we've got this idea, and if we can get everything together, and if we can get some money together, and this and that.
Spent about a year filling out paperwork. Finally got approved and hit the ground running, and just kind of winged it from there. So we started off with a small distributor, but as you can guess, there are problems with small distributors. They can't get to all the areas in Texas or out of state. And so after about a year, we started talking to the big guys, and there was one of them that we just felt really good about, felt like they understood what we were trying to do, because what we're doing in a way, yes, it's whiskey, and whiskey's been around forever, but the way we make it and the style, focus, everything that we were trying to do, it was kind of new, and they got what we were trying to do. You know, they really were supportive, and so we went ahead and jumped to the bigger distributor, which has been a great move for us.
I've always enjoyed fermenting things. You know, I started making bread at a young age, brewed beer for a number of years, and this was kind of an evolution of those things. I think what most intrigues me is there's something very simple about fermentation that becomes very complex, and the differences are subtle, but they're really important. And there's a similar thing with this. You know, we start with grain, we cook it, we ferment it, we evaporate off portions of that, simplifying, but each part of that is in its own way very simple, but exactly how you do it and why you use this yeast or that corn makes a dramatic difference in what you get and whether it's good. We have the first whiskey made in Texas that was released on the market.